So excited, just getting ready to walk in here to the convention center for this year's AWSP Summer Conference Luncheon. I'm just stoked to be able to see everybody and have a good time. Huh, door's locked. I wonder why that is. I don't see anybody. Man, I can't wait. It's been a long year. The AWSP Summer Conference Luncheon is here. I mean, I grew a mullet this past year, but I'm so excited to see Scott and Jack and Gina and Kim and... Oh, Scott, Roz, somebody, anybody, please, please, no, not again. All right, I'm so excited. Summer Conference Luncheon. You belong here. Well, yeah, 2 years ago, I belonged. You fooled me then. But you're not gonna fool me this time, because you know what? You fooled me once when I went to Convention Center. Shame on me. Fooled me twice. Shame on you. Third time, not going to happen again. I went down there twice in person. And those guys did a Zoom luncheon. Well, I'm logging into Zoom right now. It's luncheon time. Can't fool me this year. Can't fool me that, huh? Oh, you kidding? You belong here. Yeah, everybody but me belongs there. I'm calling Scott right now.
Hello and welcome to another special summer conference edition of AWSP News. We all thought last year was crazy, and this year wasn't much better. Hello, Scott?
Hey, dude, where is everybody? Luncheon, Zoom, right? I'm in the waiting room.
Don't you read your email? We're in Spokane right now, just like you.
You're in the convention center? You're in Spokane at the convention center right now?
Yeah, I'm just here with over 700 of my closest friends. Don't worry, it's not like you've interrupted their duty-free lunch. They're just all awkwardly watching us right now. Why aren't you here? Come on, you know the conference theme. You belong here.
Oh my gosh! I thought this year I finally got it right. I'll be right there. I'm coming now. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. You don't start without me. Bye.
Well, sorry about that. As you can see, there's evidence to why he gets fired 2 or 3 times per week. Now, where was I? Oh yes. Welcome to the special edition of AWSP Summer Conference News. Before we go too far into the newscast, we want to thank our friends at Jostens, and more specifically Jostens Renaissance, for sponsoring this episode. We love how they love our kids. Thanks, Rick, for that great thank you to the amazing people sitting in this room. For starters, on behalf of the entire family, that includes AWSL, CISPUS, and Outdoor Schools Washington, and each and every student in the state, we can't thank you enough for your persistence, perseverance, grit, and dedication, and unwavering leadership during the past 2 years. You are all simply incredible. The legacy of your leadership is forever and will never be forgotten. Thank you. If I could wave my magic wand, I'd suggest that every principal and assistant principal in the state receive recognition as the Principal of the Year. But I don't get to make the rules. So instead, let's take a look at this year's winners.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. You're the best around, and nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. You are the best thing. We are the champions.
While they deserve all the accolades and much more recognition than they've had this year, it's time to start finding our next principal and assistant principal of the year. Do you have someone in your district, ESD, or across the state whose leadership has amazed you this last year? Maybe your principal if you're an AP, or your AP if you're a principal. Head to awsp.org/POY and nominate them today. It's a great honor not only for the individual, but the school and community as well. In fact, 2020 winner David Cook called the experience the best professional learning experience of his career. It's no secret that these past 2 years have been absolutely crazy, and with that, the expectations placed on school leaders. We sit at an important time in educational history. We can't sit by and watch more and more be piled onto the plates of our school leaders, which is killing our will and ability to effectively lead our schools. As the saying goes, you're either at the table or you're on the menu. So we're having ourselves some dinner parties. We're already working on writing bills, suggesting policy changes, meeting with legislators, and advocating for changes at the state and national levels. You want to hear just a few things we've got cooking? Let's bounce over to our very own Government Relations and Advocacy Director, Roz Thompson, for some updates from the last session and a look at what's ahead.
Thanks, Scott. This year's legislative session concluded with some good bills for education. House Bill 1664 changes the state's prototypical funding model to add more student support positions like nurses, counselors, social workers, and psychologists. House Bill 1699 allows retired educators to work a few more years each year in schools. And we love House Bill 2078, which establishes the outdoor education program in our state. Funding was provided for capital projects, school nutrition, outdoor education, enrollment stability, and other needs. I also created a list of the top 10 bills that go into effect for the 2022-23 school year. Find this list on the AWSP legislative webpage. Moving towards 2023, we are working closely with OSPI and our partners in other associations to create better conditions for principal and assistant principal positions. Our proposal for the Basic Education Compensation Work Group includes recommendations for better principal salaries along with increased funding for internships and mentorships. We're in the process of writing legislation that would provide better job protections for building administrators as well. Your positions in our public education system are critical, and getting the message out to our legislature, our education partners, and the public about creating more supportive structures and a more manageable workload for all of you is our most important focus right now. If you want to get involved in our advocacy efforts, please reach out to me at roz@awsp.org. And now back to you, Scott.
Thanks, Roz. School leaders across the state and AWSP itself are in a better position moving forward because of the relentless and tireless efforts of Roz, a true advocate for principals. Now let's cut to Jack Arend, Associate Director and Professional Learning Lead, and find out what the professional learning team here at AWSP has in store for you this summer and into next year.
Hey everybody, happy summer. Congrats on finishing a great school year. The AWSP Professional Learning Team has been working very hard for you. We've been designing events for the 22-23 school year that are going to fit all of your leadership needs. Whether it's aspiring or retiring, whatever level you might be at, we have something for you. First-year school leaders, hop on to our Launching School Leadership Network. If you're ready to take the next step in your equity work, don't miss the first ever Race and Equity Leadership Institute. For those of you that need work and some ideas around how to make inclusionary practices part of your school, we have a free on-demand inclusionary practices toolkit. And for those of you that would like to be a mentor, or if you know someone who would need a mentor next year, we want you to apply for our brand new, refreshed, totally revamped mentor program. Whatever it is, whatever your professional learning needs are, we've got you covered. If you'd like us to design something special for you and your district, just let us know. At AWSP, we believe that professional learning, that's your self-care. And self-care is how you get your power back.
Thanks, Jack. We want to equip you to be the best leader you can be, and that starts with you as the lead learner in your building. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. Your self-care and ongoing professional learning are crucial to your success. Like Jack, we have something for everyone, and if you would like to increase authentic student voice in your school, we've got that too. Let's hear some updates from James Lehman, Director of the Association of Washington Student Leaders.
Wow, what great things happening with the Association of Washington School Principals. Speaking of great things happening, my name is James Lehman and I am the director of your Student Leadership and Student Programs organization, the Association of Washington Student Leaders, AWSL. AWSL provides resources, programs, professional learning, workshops, conferences, camps, and many other dynamic offerings that support student engagement, student empowerment, and student voice throughout the P16 system. From students to adults to recess staff to principals, AWSL is here for you. So check out our website, awsleaders.org, for all the ways you and your school can get involved. We look forward to working with you.
Between AWSP, AWSL, CISPIS, and now Outdoor School, we are thrilled to have a family of organizations supporting your leadership and your students. Make sure you're taking full advantage of your membership and all the opportunities our little family has to offer. Well, we've come to one of my favorite segments of this newscast, our famous, or is it infamous, celebrity guest leadership interview. Either way, it's my favorite question I like to ask anyone and everyone, total strangers or famous people. Who was your favorite principal? It doesn't matter because everyone has a favorite principal. You might recall from years past interviews with my daughter, educational leaders, former Seahawk Richard Sherman, actor and comedian Joel McHale, Mariners manager Scott Service, and the first black NHL announcer Everett Fitzhugh of the Seattle Kraken. All of these past guests have had several things in common: a familiar and famous Washington face, far-reaching impact in their particular industry, and a fond memory of a school principal who influenced and shaped their lives. This year's AWSP Who's Your Favorite Principal special guest was no different. He's definitely a familiar and famous face, has far-reaching impact, is passionate about the role public education plays in the lives of our youth, and also happens to be a Coug. Isn't that cool? Go Cougs! Who did I have the privilege of sitting down to talk with about school leadership? How about Walla Walla High School graduate, Wazoo Coug, and NFL quarterback Drew Bledsoe. I'm here with the one, the only, great Washington resident and icon, and I got to throw out there, Wazoo Cougar. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Drew Bledsoe. Clearly we're not in my office, but I got to say, he's got a really nice office. Drew, thanks for having us today.
Yeah, welcome. And I think all of you principals out there, hopefully find some comfort in this. That after what you've been through the last couple of years, we all need some wine in our lives. I think I know that you're not supposed to drink, during the day at school, but I know that there's probably been a few of you that have thought about that long and hard over the last couple of years. So we're here to support you.
Yeah, it's been 2 brutal years. I've actually think they're pretty good at putting wine in their coffee cups, especially for Zoom.
I don't know anything about that. This is coffee.
So Drew was kind enough to give us a little bit of his time to talk about leadership and the important role that you all play in supporting the students in our K-12 space. So what I'd love to know is when you look back at your career, your life in education, I mean, you were a product of the public system. Both your parents were teachers, which is such a cool story. Can you think of adults in your life, whether they're teachers or coaches or a principal, that made a difference?
I think even when you're young, you get a sense for people that really, truly care about you. You can fake that for a little while, but you can't really fake it for very long. And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of teachers and administrators, by the way, that actually were doing it because they really do care about kids. Yeah. And they've been, there are a handful of them that I've maintained contact with over the years. And that part that's at the very, very top of the list. And then once you establish that you actually really do care, then you have a chance to really impart important lessons that are bigger than just, reading and writing, things that actually carry you on, through your life from a character standpoint.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, the principal's office. You look back through your time, and I'm sure you were a model citizen just like I was.
Yes, right.
I didn't know any of my administrators by first name, but
never broke a single rule.
No. So, can you think back to your time going through the system where you had a great relationship with a principal or assistant principal, or a relationship that you were forced into getting to know? Really well?
Thankfully, for the most part, I had good relationships with the administrators at our different schools. When I was in high school at Walla Walla High School, Dick Neer was our principal, and he was kind of a big, stern-looking guy, bald head, and all this. And, you didn't want to go see Mr. Neer, but then once you kind of broke through that hard outer candy shell, he was actually made of soft caramel. But he wrote me a letter of recommendation when I was applying to Stanford,
Bad choice. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, no, who wants to go to Stanford? But he partly because of this amazing letter of recommendation that he wrote, did get into Stanford. I elected to go to what we call the Harvard of the Northwest, Washington State.
It really is.
Rather than going to lowly old Stanford. And then, you know, Ron Higgins, who I think Ronnie just retired, but may still come attend the conference. So Ronnie, if you're there, this is my apology for the way that we treated you when you became assistant principal.
Hey, Drew, we are so excited that you did this for us. And your words of affirmation to the people behind that camera is so huge. We have about 800 elementary, middle, and high school assistant principals and principals from across the state sitting out there right now. If you could tell them one thing about just what they just endured during the last 2 years.
I can't imagine.
What would it be?
Oh man, well look, my mug here, I don't know if you can see this, but it says grateful. I think it's actually my wife's, but it is appropriate for this. You know, I know just as a parent, and as just a citizen, so grateful for you guys weathering the storm that you've been through the past couple of years, where you have, you know, a moving target that you're going to try to hit every single day, and sometimes you don't even know what that target is, and no matter what you do, half the parents are going to be mad at you. I can't imagine what you've had to go through on a daily basis, but I'm just so incredibly grateful that you're willing to do it. I have told you know, our team though at the winery. You know, when you're old and you're sitting on the front porch and you're talking to your grandkids, and you don't tell them the stories about when things were easy. You tell them about the battles you had to go through. And so we've started to make it this mantra that we embrace adversity. And hopefully you all have been able to embrace some of this adversity, even though I'm sure on a daily basis it's really sucked a lot of the time.
Embrace the suck.
Yeah, but embrace the suck, and just know that at the end of the day, in spite of all the stuff you've had to go through, what you're doing is so incredibly important for the future of our country, for the future of our kids. So we appreciate you. We're grateful all the time that you are willing to weather the storms that you've had to weather.
Spoken like a champion for principals. Thanks again to not just Drew, but to all the adults who helped him along the way, his parents who are both school teachers, and his daughter who is currently on the path to become an elementary school teacher herself. Truly a family dedicated to improving children's lives through public education. And just to be clear, we did that interview at 8 a.m. without cracking to any of those bottles of wine. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel to watch the full interviews of any of our other celebrity interviews. We know how busy you are, but we promise some laughs. They're worth your time. And do you happen to know a celebrity with Washington ties? I'm already looking for next year's guest. As we wind down another special edition of AWSP News, we want to thank you again for your leadership. You make a difference. I know these were tough times this past year when you were looking daily at our old job jar or our new career center, or were pondering just how much the receipt checker makes at Costco. I'm sorry, but you can't leave. Your kids need you. We believe the future is bright, and we believe that your students deserve the best principal in the world. We hope you're staying right where you are.
Just a little bit longer.
And already planning for an amazing school year next fall. You belong at your school just like you belong here. Now, when this video ends, don't move. We've got a great program planned with many more surprises and door prizes. So sit back, relax, and give a nice warm welcome to your AWSP Board President, Principal of Hawk Elementary School in the Central Kitsap School District, Chris Visserman.
If you would like to be a mentor or know someone who would, crap.
So do you want to do that whole thing over again? Damn it. Okay, from the top, take 3. Don't worry, that first got to me again.
Hey everybody.
I said whew, take 7.
Scene.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. Oh no. Mommy.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.